today's guest speaker.
So, I have a friend who has been through an experience. I don't really know how to introduce Tanner. The guest speaker's name is Tanner Blais. I'm going to show you a small YouTube video of what he's been through for the past year and a half. He was in an accident and he's now on the road to recovery. Still recovering, I believe, but he's worked really hard to do so. I'd really appreciate it if you guys could respect at least the video, and after you will ask questions about what he's been through, respectful and appropriate questions, I would like to believe. Yeah, thank you for calming it down and focusing, Isaiah, especially. All right.
I was with my friend all day long, riding motorcycles and stuff. At night, I went on a motorcycle to go somewhere. I don't remember where I was going. And then at like 12:30 at night, July 30th, I got hit by a car. And then I woke up a few weeks later in the hospital.
He went airborne. I saw him laying in the street, barely breathing. I don't know if I'll do this without crying. So.
The injuries I have are my brain was swelling, so they had to cut half my skull off for a few months. My brain was swelling so bad. Yeah, my wrist was broke. I have hearing. I don't hear on my left ear.
The surgeon called us into a private room, told us what was going on, and I said it should take about 3 hours, and that he might not make it. The longest 3 hours of my life. What's your name?
Tanner. Smile. Come on.
Yeah, when I woke up, my mother was there, and she told me to relax and everything's gonna be okay. And she explained to me what happened.
He wasn't following any commands in ICU, so we didn't know what state he was in. I didn't know if my son was brain dead, going to be a vegetable. We didn't know until he started following commands. When he did finally start following commands, we knew that Tanner was in there.
Eventually, I started to be able to walk and talk again. And then about 3 or 4 months after that, I went home.
We're here at the Complex Center in St. Albans for a benefit hockey tournament for my cousin Tanner. We have a bake sale running with everybody donating baked goods. We're selling t-shirts, we're selling jerseys, we're selling raffle tickets.
All my friends and family came. I went there and I watched for a little while, and it was really nice to see everybody. To raise money from my accident, and then there was a bake sale there. People were selling t-shirts, bracelets. Now that I can drive and I can hang out with friends, it's kind of like I can go do things. I still don't drink. I mean, just kind of trying to get used to my whole life, trying to get that back. Yeah, I've come a long ways since when I first got hit. That's for sure. Everybody notices it.
People can't even believe how far he's come. So we're very, very lucky. It could have been a lot worse. We're very thankful, right? Right.
I thank God every day that I'm still here. Apparently a year ago today, it wasn't my time. So I'm still here. And I'm doing a lot better. Every day I'm getting better. Don't give up. Stay positive. Sometimes you get down, really down. Just stay positive. Go towards somebody you love. Tell them how you're feeling. That's what helps me.
There are a couple of things that I do want to ask. Well, why don't you come up, Tanner? This is our guest speaker, Tanner Blais. Tanner, that I want to ask you so that you can relate to the class the actual time it took to rehabilitate. How long? Because at first you couldn't speak, right? You couldn't speak, couldn't move. How long did it take for you to get some words out?
Well, when I woke up from the coma, it was another few weeks before I could even walk and start talking again.
Yeah. How long were you in a coma?
3 months, about.
3 months. So
left, maybe.
from the time you guys started school, and not right now, but from the time, from the time you guys started school to about now, he was asleep. And I mean, I can't imagine just being your mom. But you woke up. I'm still like kind of baffled by that movie, and I've known Tanner for a while now. But the amount of strength and effort it takes to grow back to who you are. I don't know, and it never really explained who Tanner was before this. He played varsity soccer.
And college soccer.
And college soccer, hockey.
A little bit.
Played a little bit of hockey. So this is like an athlete, like a varsity athlete, and snowboarding, like you're just active. It's an active guy, I guess you could say. Still is. Yeah, I don't know. I'm still kind of taken back by the video, just because I see Tanner as him right here, right now, and it's taken a lot of time for you to get back to not 100% of who you are, but to a hardworking individual. Because you still have a part-time job. You now have a part-time job. He's working. He's like every other citizen. Do any of you have any questions? It doesn't seem like it.
Well, give it a minute. So, first, I do want to note that I met Tanner when he was about 11 years old for the first time. I don't know if you will have this memory or not. I'm curious.
Playing hockey?
Playing hockey. You played hockey with my oldest son, Dylan. We played it was a house team, and it was really just for fun. So that's when I had first met you. And I learned that about that time that you enjoyed playing hockey, but that it wasn't your number one thing. You really enjoyed soccer. And I recall watching you play soccer as a high school athlete. I also had the pleasure of coaching your sister Mercedes for 4 years at BFA, and I've worked with your mom for a number of years, and probably 15 or 20 years, and then played hockey with your dad on Friday nights. We played hockey together for an awful long time. And so I definitely knew who you were before the accident, and I don't think and obviously the video said nobody knew how things were going to turn out for you. And honestly, I would say about a year ago, I would say I'd have been shocked to see you. If somebody said you're going to stand in front of a classroom, you're going to walk, you're going to talk, you're going to be pretty much back to being a normal human being, I would have said, there's no way. Not with the damage that happened to your brain, not with the damage that happened to pretty much every extremity, right? Every arm, every leg, overcoming that. I just wouldn't have guessed it, and I'm not trying to be critical of you as a person beforehand, but I do believe that probably you took an awful lot for granted before the accident that you don't take for granted anymore. And so I wonder if you could speak a little bit about lessons you've learned as a person now, given that where you were before this happened to you, and it happened like that, and your life was completely different after that. So what do you feel like you've learned?
Well, the biggest part is my mind, being able to remember stuff. I have very, very short-term memory, so I'll get home after this and I'll forget what I talked about when I was here. Like I used to have no problems with memory at all. And I can't hear how half my hearing is gone, and it's kind of a big deal.
So is it the hearing, it's the hearing on your left side?
Yeah. I had surgery on it too, and it didn't work.
But you used to be able to hear very well with both ears.
Yeah.
And you used to be able to remember everything. And those things now are a struggle for you.
Something I work with every day. I have to write a lot of stuff down to remember. Just like differences, I gotta like work harder to be who I used to be. It's a lot more work. I find myself doing.
Yeah. So it's the struggle, right? So there is a, I don't know if you know that today there's sort of a common statement that people will use is the struggle is real. And for you, the struggle is real every day. There's no break from it. How do you feel about that?
I mean, I regret some of the stuff I've done in my life, but it is what it is. I gotta deal with it. Can't give up. Gotta go. I mean, my life's not over, so.
You're still alive.
Yep, and I'm walking. Most people aren't walking after what happened to me. I'm very lucky.
I wonder, Tanner, if, and I would say Miss Garso, Mr. Coffey, myself, probably Mr. Hayes can make a better connection than these guys can to this. But I wonder if you have a different appreciation for Dick Bashaw.
I do. Absolutely.
Have you spoken with Dick at all?
Not since my accident, but I used to see him in the hallways at school and I used to talk to him. He's a pretty good guy.
A great guy.
I didn't realize what he was going through until now.
You have a much different understanding of what it was like to be Dick Bashaw, and probably a little more admiration for what he's overcome. But I think sometimes when you experience a significant struggle like you have, like Dick Bashaw has, that there is some comfort in knowing that there's somebody out there that really understands what it's currently like to be you.
I do have a support group I go to once a month. And we all talk about our struggles and stuff and see if we can help each other out and stuff.
Are they other people with catastrophic injuries to their brains in particular? Yep. How about depression? Do you struggle with that a little bit?
It was difficult at first, and trying to especially when I couldn't even drive or couldn't go do things. I could just sit at home, and I was very depressed. Because usually I'm a very active person. I used to being able just to sit at home and just do nothing. So it was really hard. And then I started being able to walk more, and eventually started driving, and it helped.
I can't believe you drive.
He's a good driver.
No, I'm not disappointed. I'm just like, wow. You got yourself back to the point where it's safe for you to drive a car. I'm just blown away by that.
Yeah, it took me about eight or 9 months since my accident to start driving again and working.
Did you have to do some kind of test in order to be able to drive again?
I had to do a driver's rehab in Burlington.
So you couldn't just get behind the wheel of a car because you had a license before?
Nope.
And how did you do that?
I got a ride there by my mother, and they had a driver's ed car. I got in the car, and she told me what to do, and I picked it right up. No
But you had to learn to drive again.
Yeah. But it was like starting new. A lot of my stuff in my life starting over.
How old are you?
26.
So as a 25 or 26-year-old, you were having to learn everything that you would learn in the previous 25 years of your life. You're trying to gain that all back in the last year. That's
Yeah,
amazing.
It's difficult.
Had to be.
It can be done. So work hard. Don't give up. A lot of people give up. Don't give up. You'll get through it. I had my family there with me the whole time. My mother was at the hospital every day. Every single day. My dad came on his lunch break every day because he worked in Colchester. See both my parents every day, which helped a lot.
Can I just add on to the never giving up part? And you guys are young, so I don't expect you to totally understand where Tanner's coming from. Is the mountain that he's had to climb afterwards. But the never giving up is what I really want you guys to take in and support. Like, you guys, I mean, sometimes it's hard to see you make such a fuss over a math problem or something we really can't read. But, you know, you guys have such a, I mean, you probably heard this all the time, but you have such a long road ahead of you. There are going to be times where you want to give up, or you want to just quit, or you want to walk away. I mean, I don't want to say Tanner had that option. I mean, you could have not worked as hard as you needed to get to where you are now. But to persevere is something that is very important in life. And considering your age, now's around the time where you guys want to start pushing yourselves. You'll soon be defined with who you are, through your actions. And giving up should not be one of them. It's really kind of, that's why I kind of wanted Tanner to present to you guys. Or I wanted you to hear his story, because he never gave up. And I don't want you guys to give up.
If we're being straight up honest about Tanner and his character, Tanner, how do you recall how hard you really worked before the accident?
Before the accident?
Like, just in terms of a person, as your character, did you work as hard then as you do now?
I don't know. I just kind of went through life as easily as possible. Make me happy.
I would agree, I would concur with that, and not in a negative way, but as I would say a lot of people do, a lot of people that your age, I think I did too. I think that there were a lot of things that I took for granted, and it's not until you have something taken away that you truly realize how fortunate you were. Regardless of, like, what your life is like. Like, I get some of you, for all of us the struggle is real, but for some of us in this room, clearly life is much harder on you than it is on other people. That's the absolute truth. However, every person in this room has two legs that work normally, and two legs that allow you to run, and two eyes that allow you to see, and two ears that allow you to hear, and two hands and arms that work. Your heart works. For most of you, your memory works pretty well. Some of you struggle with memory, to be honest, right? For some of you, it's hard. Tanner had all of those things. He had all of those things before this accident. And when he woke up 3 months later, he had almost none of it, except that you still had your loving mom, and your loving dad, and your loving sister, and your friends around you. And thank God, inside of you, you have the will to live, and the will to push on. And I want to say, and I say this to my hockey team all the time, is that you think you're working hard. You think you are pushed to your limit, and the truth is, you haven't been. There's more inside each and every one of you. Those of us living around Tanner have had the opportunity to see how much more was inside of you. And it's just amazing how much more was inside of you. And so when you're sitting around feeling sorry for yourself, when you're sitting around complaining about the way things are around you, You all have the ability to do something about that. I would say 9 months ago, Tanner probably was not thinking there was much he could do about his situation. But he dug deep, deeper than he ever thought he could dig, and here he is, standing in front of us.
Worked harder than I thought I could even do it. Push, push, push.
Did you surprise yourself
I did.
sometimes?
Especially like when I was in the hospital, when I recovered from my coma, my therapist came in to walk and talk, and I could have just said go away, but I wanted them to help me. So.
Was it easy to start walking again? In what way was it not easy?
Well, I wouldn't have the energy. I didn't care.
So you lacked energy. Did it hurt
It hurt, yes.
a lot
Yeah.
to walk?
At first, yes. Just to get out of bed at first, because I was laying down for so long that I had bed sores, kind of, I guess. Like it was very weird being out. Well, when I woke up from my coma, I felt like it was yesterday that I got hit. I didn't really realize it was so long. So I had a lot of mental shit, or crap.
Yeah.
You can swear around us. We don't care.
Okay. So you had mental stuff going on, and then any part, and I would argue it probably wasn't just your legs that hurt to move, because if your arms don't move for 3 months either, it's going to hurt to move those as well.
I had a cast on this arm. This wrist was broke. I had a cast on this arm right here. I had a full cast this arm, a half cast this arm. So I woke up with all this stuff on me. Yeah. And I was getting shots every day. Shots are not fun. I hate them.
So you had to overcome the mental, emotional hurdle of just getting yourself up, and then you get up, and it hurts like hell. Like it's just everywhere is painful.
I just wanted to say, don't go back to it.
And so you started by doing what then?
I mean, by eating, because I didn't eat myself for a long time. I had a tube in my stomach. They were pumping me full of stuff, and it made me sick a lot. And eventually, it let me start eating myself, which was nice. And you have more energy.
So, do you remember the therapy day when you actually took your first step again?
I don't remember that day.
You don't remember that day?
I don't remember too much details because I was on a lot of medicine.
Sure.
So I kind of like you think about it really hard, and I can remember some stuff. I don't remember much until I got home from the hospital in October.
I'm suspecting there were a number of days when they came to do physical therapy with you to get you walking again, and that just taking one step was like, yay, like I got one step. Maybe you weren't saying that, but I'm guessing the people around you were cheering and hollering. And then that probably was with assistance. That was likely with somebody helping you. Or even, do you remember being on the bars, walking?
There was like nurses helping me walk, like 2 or 3 people at a time helping me. Eventually I did it myself.
The interesting thing to me is that you say eventually, but what we don't get the effect of is that likely was a couple of months before you were even able to take a step by yourself. So you're trying to walk for a couple of months before you can actually take a single step on your own and not fall. And then it was probably a couple of more months before you could take 3, 4, 5 steps.
And stairs is a whole other level.
Oh my God, right. That's amazing. Another thing we take for granted, that we can walk upstairs rather comfortably. Wow. It's like, to some degree, it's like being a 1-year-old.
Yeah, absolutely.
Learning, wow. Huh. Any questions from anybody?
Luke, do you have a question? Okay, I saw this and I know what that was.
How long before you could speak?
I think it was about, well, I was sitting down at a table when I started speaking. And I don't really remember if I walked the table or not. But my mother was starting to teach me sign language. And then eventually I started talking.
So you never went with the sign language?
I think a little bit, like poop.
Yeah. Listen, the basics in life, right? Eat, sleep, pee, and poop. Yeah. So it was just communicated that you had to go to the bathroom.
Yeah.
Yeah. Does your mom recall the first words you said?
She probably does.
But you don't.
I don't remember.
Huh.
Again, I mean, I just kind of wanted you guys to observe how maybe interesting life could be. I don't want to say hard, because we all have our own struggles, but perseverance would probably be the word in this presentation, personally.
Mr. Hayes,
Yes, sir.
how has your friendship with Tanner Blais changed your life?
It's honestly pushed me. You know, there are a lot of times where I say it could be worse, and tend to think about Tanner's situation. That I'm thankful for where I am. I'm thankful that I do have my legs that work, that I have somewhat of a memory as well. Lucky is another word. Lucky that I haven't had to experience a challenge like that. So, I guess I'm glad that Tanner and I were able to be friends after his surgery. Because, honestly, I didn't know Tanner that very well before his surgery. So when we started hanging out, it was really hard for me. I knew he was in the accident, but I hadn't seen the video until we had been friends for a long time. So when I saw the video, it did kind of hit me. It kind of gave me a reminder, he's been through a lot. And the fact that he's walking and talking now normally had me stunned the first time I saw the video.
Well, I asked you that question, Mr. Hayes. I'm going to be a little bit personal with you. And if I get too personal, you can just say, no, I don't want to go there, right?
That's fine.
But I've had the pleasure of knowing you since you were in high school.
Yep.
You had a lot more hair then.
Oh, I did.
You had a big bushy hair, right? And honestly, you were a typical high school kid.
What?
And then I got to know you on a much more personal level when you began working in the Bridges program, right, here at City School.
Yep.
And at that time, you worked with my wife, Miss Stacy, and you probably don't know how much I know about things, but she would come home and talk about how you had some struggles for a little while, right? You've been at City School for a little while, but there were times where it was kind of questionable whether you were going to be here or not.
Yeah.
And I would argue that I don't know how long you've been friends with Tanner, but I see a different human being today, right now, than I saw 3 or 4 years ago.
Yeah, I didn't know Tanner back then.
I think there were a lot of things that you thought were tough then,
Yes.
and they were tough,
Yeah.
but I think you figured out that you can overcome those things. And I also suspect there's a lot less that you take for granted. We try to talk with our kids a lot about gratitude and appreciation. Appreciating what you have. Yes, the people that are supposed, we have kids going to Day of Code at 1:30. Okay, let's give it 1 minute. If you're in Day of Code at 1:30, go. Okay, no problem.
Yeah, honestly, a lot of my change had to do with me working at this school. I had my struggles. To be personal, I ended up losing my father, my brother, my grandpa, and my godfather all within a year and a half. And that was hard for me. Unfortunately, my dad passed, and then 3 months later, my brother had a seizure. And so, yeah, I felt down and out. And it was really hard for me to stay positive and appreciate what I had. Just because I think a lot of important people were leaving. But I was very lucky and fortunate. And it's funny, I said I was very lucky and fortunate to be in the position I was because I was working at this school. And though my job can be very stressful at times, I always appreciated that everyone else around me was working just as hard and was just as passionate with their job. Working at the school just allowed me to I guess just appreciate more.
So I honestly, I didn't know that detail. You might be surprised to know that I didn't know that detail, but okay, because what it helps me to understand is while Tanner's losses were significant physically, for you it was emotional losses. And so it's interesting to me that you guys found each other, right? That even though you didn't have the same exact experience, there's something common between the two of you that probably, maybe there's some other force, right, in nature that brought you together. But it just seems to me like both of you are people that because of the adversity that you faced, and you've come through that, you've persevered through that, you have a different appreciation for life. A significantly different appreciation for life, both of you. You honestly, Tanner, you were kind of a cocky kid, right? Like, did you know him before? I know you know him before him.
I've known Tanner since we learned how to skate.
Yeah. And you know, like I'm cool. Like I'm, I'm the awesomest thing in the world. It's kind of it was kind of who Tanner Blais was. No problem. There's lots of kids like that. But I just see somebody now who that like you believe in yourself, but it's not necessarily all about you. I just think you appreciate life in a very different way.
I do.
And I have a tremendous appreciation for that, for both of you, for overcoming the adversity that you've overcome. And we're not looking for everybody in this room here to share their adversity, but we all come from adversity. We all come from adversity. And when you're, in particular, we talk a lot, I try to say, hey, somebody's having a bad day, there's probably a good reason for it. There's probably a really good reason for it. I don't know that anybody walks around wanting to be miserable or wanting to be in a bad mood or nasty. No, I don't think anybody does that on purpose. If we all truly understood the stories and the adversity that we're all facing, we probably could be more helpful with each other, because I don't think anybody would have said to Tanner 2 days after coming out of the coma, what the hell's the matter with you? Get off your foot, do something, right? Because we could clearly see you are capable of that. The hard part with emotional adversity is that we can't see it. We can't see it. The average person would not have seen it in Mr. Hayes 5 years ago or 4 years ago. They would have just made assumptions about him as a person, not knowing what the real story was behind the behavior, right? But now that he's come through it and he's comfortable with it, he's a much better person. You were a great person then, but you're a much better person now. Same with Tanner. And by the way, Tanner's mom was a fantastic person, but now that she's been through what she's been through, she's an unbelievably amazing person. And I'm sure you love your mom more now than you ever did before. Not that you didn't before, right? But I'm sure you love her much more. And Sadie as well. And I don't know your little brother's name.
Daniel.
I never really got to meet him. But the same with Daniel. Teachers or superheroes, anything else to add? I know I can just babble on for hours, but it is, Tanner and Kareem are the reasons why we still come to school every single day, even though we deal with your crap. Your crap. Because we know that the potential for all of you, I'm sorry, Mr. Cattell, I didn't include you. Or is Miss Garso around the corner? We lost her. We know that if we stick with you, eventually you'll get to the point where you can be the kind of people that Tanner Blais and Kareem Hayes are. As people, giving back to their community. Tanner did not have to come here today. He could have stayed home. It would have been much easier to stay home. Right? But you put yourself up in front of 70 kids. You made a mistake. And you have persevered through that. You've learned from that, and you are a significantly better human being than you ever were before.
Everything happens for a reason.
Sure does.
I believe that.
And I guess I'll just add, because you did like 5 minutes ago ask if
I'm sorry.
else had anything. No, I guess it just revolves around the same thing though, Jeff, is that it's both of you. And Tanner, I honestly haven't seen you probably since you were in high school, because it's not, you know, as you went off to out of hockey and went to soccer, we don't see each other, but you're an inspiration whether you knew it or not, because when in this community, when something like what happened to you, we hear about it, it's like, oh my gosh, it just brings you back, and the connections we make throughout the community, it's unbelievable how supportive we are of each other, and it's amazing to see you being able to come here and share your story, and with the support of Kareem, it's inspirational for me to say, oh my God, yeah, that we're doing the right things around St. Albans, that we've got some good people in our community. No matter what happens, no matter what choices you make, we come down and support each other. And I think that's the message that I take from this, is that you're living, standing here and willing to share that. And I think you're doing the right thing, and I'm very, very proud of you for doing that. So I thank you for that. And Kareem, I had, whether you guys know it or not, he was one of my students in 7th grade. He was taller than me then, still is. But you know, 3-4 years ago, again, I didn't see the messages, but I know you're making an impact on a lot of kids here. So both of you, I'm proud of who you are, and I'm proud of where you're going. So, and I'm sure you guys are going to do some great things as you move forward. So, thank you for what you're doing. I'm very proud of you. So, thank you, Mr. Ruller. Your turn now.
I just want you to know I have my Tanner Strong T-shirt.
Okay.
Gotta believe it. That goes to what Mr. Coffey was saying. That in this community, we come together. We come together around these kinds of things. It says a lot about, well, first of all, about who we are as people, right? But then, when it comes right down to it, we're there for each other. We're a family. So, thank you. Thank you for taking the risk. Thank you for daring greatly today, and providing us with your story. I hadn't seen the video yet, so that was pretty moving for me. Yeah. All right. So what do you guys think? Yeah?